Here, you're ready?
Yeah, looking great.
So welcome everyone to our final evening. Hello for those of you on the live stream watching us. This is our final grand finale here, and I'm excited because this is the reason why this whole sistership circle exists, and that is to heal the sisterhood wound. So I'm actually going to start with a reading from my book. Open Your Heart, How to Be a New Generation Feminine Leader. We all have this thought that if you really knew me, you'd leave me. You wouldn't accept me. And that's why we don't accept this part of ourselves. But it's there, it's real, it's alive, it's true. When we show up in this vulnerability, sharing the thing we don't want to share, leaning into the pain, exposing our pain, opening our heart to potentially get stabbed once again, we are finally seen. At that moment of recognition of both the humanness and the soul that we all share, we connect. We empathize, we relate. We see and we feel seen. We hear and we feel heard. We love and we feel loved. And in that moment, we heal. We both heal. One time does not erase the past hurts. It doesn't take it away, but it gives us courage to open our hearts once again. And again wider, and again wider, and again wider, and again wider. Our shoulders move back, we aren't hunched over, our heads tilt up, our throat clears, we can speak our truth. The sisterhood is exactly this mirror. My sister is me, she hears me, I hear myself. She sees me, I see myself. She loves me, I love myself. She mirrors both my light and my dark. She allows me to accept my darkness because she connects with my vulnerability. She still loves me. It is okay. So tonight, in healing the sisterhood wound, it's about us first going into that shadow and looking at, well, what is it that has us feel disconnected? And then moving to the light of what is the celebration, what is it that we love? What is this craving that we have for sisterhood? And I just want to read our mission of Sistership Circle, to give every woman in the world the experience of real and authentic sisterhood, where she is loved, accepted, and celebrated as herself. Through the sisterhood, women gain confidence in being a woman, claim their feminine leadership, and develop meaningful, deep relationships with other women. And I said this on the first night, that we light these candles as a symbol of the light that we're shining, the light that we are collectively lighting up in the world. And I just love this symbol of the candle and that inner flame, that inner light that gets to shine through. And I just have this image of, imagine if every city in the world had, an altar of candles that women had lit together. And we're coming together, back together in sisterhood, because it was Actually, on the panel today, Elaine Doty spoke about how women used to gather, and then there was the witch burning, and there was the basically genocide of all the healers and all the women who had this power. Women were not allowed to gather anymore, and they were taking that power away. So it's really this reemergence of this, like, we find such power in our collective as women. When we come together in sisterhood, there's something magical that happens. There's something that gets co-created in the space. And that's what this is all about. So tonight we're going to explore that. We're going to wrap up the whole festival. Live streamers, we're excited to have you, as usual, joining us from wherever you are around the world. And we're going to start our evening with some movement. Really, the intention here is for us to drop out of our heads of like the thinking and the day and everything that happened, and drop into our bodies so that we can be fully present and really tap into that wisdom that we have that lies in our wombs. So Allison is our amazing movement facilitator tonight, who I'm so excited has said yes on her birthday. So cool. So perfect. So come on out. Yes, it's the movement.
All right. So this was sort of last minute, so you guys could sit here just a second. And when I was thinking about what I could share in movement today, there's 2 paragraphs in the invocation of the sistership circle, and the second paragraph, the first line, it's "Put down your sword, my sweet sister." And every time I heard that, it like dropped a shield in my heart, and I didn't even know I had a shield and a sword. And I think that that's what's part of, like, when we come together as sisters, that's all down. And we can come together and stand together and have each other's back and be in camaraderie without the competitiveness and the jealousy. And so we're just going to dance that movement. We're going to dance intention for being here and putting down our swords. So come standing. So just feeling your feet on the ground, relax your eyelids down. Start to connect into your breath. Nice long, deep inhales and exhales. Good. 2 more times. Just letting the whole week go, the whole day go in your breath. Inhale. Now we're going to go through some deeper motions of breathing with the earth. We're going to bring our hands down, bend your knees, most importantly. Inhaling the earth's energy into our bodies, bringing those hands down next to our bodies. So we're going to be circulating that energy with the earth, with our breath. So inhaling, bringing the heavens into our body, and bringing that energy all the way back through the earth. And you can find your own rhythm of your breath. Nice deep inhales and exhaling. And as you're doing this inhaling and exhaling with the earth and with the heavens, I want you to bring your intention of being here tonight. And so with your intention, you're going to be sharing it just in your own mind. I am dancing for ... You could be dancing for sisterhood, for the healing of your own wound, for your sisters, your blood sisters, whatever that intention of healing the sister, really bring that into your body. I am dancing for. And then on your next inhale, bring that intention into this circle. Bringing it into the circle of the collective. We all don't have to carry that burden alone. We're all doing this together. And then lastly, bring that intention into the world, into parts that have not yet been cracked open, into the parts of the world that need to allow the sistership circle to be reborn. And then bringing one hand on your heart, one hand on your room, holding yourself in that intention. Holding yourself sweetly, softly. Acknowledging that you are here and that you are making a stand for sisterhood. You are that light. And then next, I want you to put this. No, not that one. It's COVID, I know. So, shake one hand wild. Shake it. And then put it up next to your other hand. Just feel that vibration. Feel that pulsing. We're going to shake that through our whole body. And the intention is to shake out the swords that you've been holding. I'm going to lead you through the movement. So starting with our right leg, we're shaking out what no longer serves you. Shake and then switch. Switch legs. Shaking something you don't even know you have. And then like a football player, shake it out, lift up your heels. Shaking that booty. Drop the baby up. You better not hit that and then shake it back your tail like a happy puppy. Like a happy puppy. That's what that is. We're shaking out what no longer serves us in sisterhood. And then go ahead and shake into your belly, just a little, into your heart, shaking that into the womb space. And then in the shoulders, shake it up. And then start shaking into those arms. Shake out the space around you. Stuff that you're picking up that is not yours. Allowing it to go with grace and ease. And then starting out with the right foot again. You got it in you. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. I've already heard. But what do you think about your intention for creating sisterhood? What it feels like to have those swords up for you? And dance your intention in your body. Feel free to think about the space. This is a free dance, a celebratory dance for sisterhood. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Everybody is just remember your intention. What does it feel like to feel that intention in your body? Have that sisters over there. No more swords. Let your intention come alive in your own body. Your elbows, your shoulders, your toes. The head space just like feeling alive.
We don't get distressed. Here's what we got. I'll go and move. Have faith in you and nothing to do. You won't go wrong. This is my family too. We are family. Our sisters and me. We are family. Everybody.
Yeah. So easy. All right.
Everyone take the seats. Now we're warmed up.
Now that we'll move the body, let's settle in to this space and go a little further into our circle experience tonight. So let's start by closing your eyes. We'll just take a couple of deep breaths here. Full inhale. Exhale. Anything that doesn't serve us any longer, any less pieces, let it go. One more full breath in. Exhale. Just tuning into your body, tuning in within.
Noticing any sensations, any feelings, how you may be feeling tonight. So really welcoming it all parts of yourself. Every little corner is all welcome here. Now it's a safe place. You can just be yourself. There's no pressure to try to be anything else or anyone else. Just as you are showing up and you're so loved and so supported in this space. Just breathing into that. And tonight we're going to go a little deeper into the sisterhood and into the sisterhood wound. We're going to go into those darker places and see maybe where we're shut down from women in our lives, where we maybe closed off. So allowing ourselves to go there so we can really come out on the other side and see what is possible for us as women standing together. So I invite you to imagine a woman in front of you, a woman that maybe have hurt you in the past, or maybe it's something that you're dealing with right now. Maybe you just have some unease about this woman. Maybe you just quite cannot make the peace about this woman. Just see her sitting right in front of you, open and vulnerable, looking right at your eyes. And take a look deeply at this woman and see if you can see her beauty as well as her shadow. As we all have light and dark inside of us. Can we really notice the beauty about her? And maybe feeling deep compassion for her. As we all have our own journeys, our own struggles, our own pains. Maybe there's a scared little girl inside of her. Can we find a deep compassion and deep love for her? And accepting her just as she is, without needing to change her, or without needing to fix her. You're setting her free, and you're setting yourself free. You're just holding this space for her. Space of love and compassion. And just tune into your body, notice how it feels, any sensations that come up, anything that you may be feeling. And as we go deeper into those darker places and experience them, what is possible for us as we stand together as women, where it's no longer me versus them, but it's us. All unique expressions, all so unique, so different, yet we are the same. We're all these pieces of puzzle that we embrace ourselves as pieces of puzzle and allow ourselves to contribute to each other versus compete with each other. We're all created differently for a reason. We all have unique gifts and talents. We all have different journeys. So what if we allow ourselves to embrace each other in sisterhood, not needing to fix each other, allowing ourselves to accept each other completely, just as we are. And just imagine yourself standing in a circle of women where you're holding hands and you feel so much love. All the women looking at you, there's so much love and so much compassion. You're allowing for any walls to melt. What would it be if we allow ourselves to hold this space in sisterhood, global sisterhood, all around the world? And we see each other in uniqueness and we celebrate it. We celebrate each other. We honor each other. We accept each other. We hold each other. And allow your heart to stay open as you receive an invocation. You're receiving it with every cell of your body, with every fiber.
I welcome you as a member for this gathering. I openly strive to share space with you and honor your truth. I hold you as a member today of our sacred space. This is my gift to you. You belong. I'm your sister who sees your power and your truth as a leader. I feel and honor your heart. I accept you for who you are and who you are not. Thank you for showing up in this world and today in this circle. Put down your sword, my sweet sister, for I have come to hold your hand. Release your shield, my dear friend, for I now support you safe in my arms. Speak to me, as you once did your mother, whispering of your heart's deepest desires. Cry with me, as we again hold each other, shivering in the face of our fears. Illuminate your brilliance, my kind neighbor, reflecting like the full moon, the sun's unequivocal offering. Allow me, as you would a child, the dreams that once danced in night vision. Build with me, my tribe sister, as we roll up our sleeves and dig deep into the fertile soil of our collective good, co-creating together balance, harmony, and peace on earth, a world of divine feminine leadership. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.
So before we move into some sharing on this topic tonight, of healing sisterhood being, we want to create like a really safe container, safe space by creating a couple of agreements. So what we're going to do is we're going to read through each agreement, and if you can just say "aho" in agreement with that statement. So the first one, we beam each other after a share. We do not give feedback or coaching to one another. So what that means, for those of you who haven't been here, is beaming, is we use our hands and we beam that person after she shares. So we're not giving any feedback or coaching, and we're just saying, I see you, I love you, I love you. That's the first agreement.
Aho. We give one another permission to be real, vulnerable, and authentic.
Aho. We listen for each other's brilliance.
Aho.
We will not fix, coach, or cross-talk.
Aho.
We are all co-creating leaders sharing ownership of the circle.
Aho. We create a safe space for one another.
Aho. We honor the timekeeper wrapping up when we hear the bell.
Aho. And we bring ourselves fully to the space.
Aho. And I would add one more. We play on our edge, and we keep looking at how we could go a little bit deeper.
Aho. So we were talking about the sisterhood wound, and we all agreed that it has been in our own circles so valuable to share our wound. What kind of kept us adrift from true sisterhood, where it went sideways along the way. And, you know, I'm sure just with some of the process so far, you know, for me, it brings up certain things of where that happened for me, where competition began. So we want to voice it so that we can be heard from a group of sisters that really love us, and that we can recreate the story. So, you know, what happened for me personally is that I changed schools a lot. And my dad was kind of a gypsy. And at around junior high age, I changed already 2 schools, and the same thing happened where like about 5 months after I was at the school, all these girls that I would be hanging around with, they would then come and say, "Oh, Misty, you know, we love you, but when we first met you, we thought you were a stuck-up bitch." And I was horrified. You know, I was like, shit, what am I doing? You know, so I really started checking myself and being like, okay, what is it that I'm doing that is giving these people this impression? Because that's a pattern, so I must be doing something wrong. Well, what I didn't know then was, you know, I was too young to know that it wasn't really about me. So I totally internalized it and thought, I better dim it down. I better dilute myself and play safe so these girls feel safe with me, because something I'm doing is threatening them or maybe making them an edge or whatever it was. So I've known this story for a long time, and I still have a hard time shining. You know, I want to acknowledge your beautiful dance, because it's hard for me to dance in front of women. I get so sideways every time we're dancing at Sister Circle, because I just want to play in it, but I get so weird about, you know, how I look, or God forbid if I act too sexy or get judged in some way, you know. And so, you know, and I'm a leader, and I need to shine, and I need to be all of me. And so it's a constant recommitting for me every day. So what we want to do is just go around the circle and open it up for everybody to.
You'll have 3 minutes to share, so we're literally going to go just around the circle. And for those of you on the live stream, if you want to post your share in the Facebook group, then at the end we'll have a little bit of time if anyone has posted, and we really encourage you and invite you to post your share, and so we can read it and your voice can be heard in the circle. So let's beam Misty. Thank you for that beautiful story.
Thank you.
All right, and I think we're gonna go in a clockwise circle. So I'm gonna go next, which I have to also mention that this is like totally out of my comfort zone, because in every circle that I've been a part of in the past, I have always wanted to go last for whatever reason. And I started to actually uncover that a little bit, and I think it's because, and it's actually connected to this question around where have you been disconnected from sisterhood. And I feel like in my family, I've always had to kind of like serve as the rock whenever there was like hardships or challenges in my family. And I feel like I have such like a listening heart nature about me, and that whenever someone opens up to me, you know, I kind of take on that energy, and I feel that energy, and I hold space. I hold a container for people, and specifically for the women in my family, specifically for my sister and specifically for my mom. And I always felt that, you know, after holding this container for again, the women in my family, whenever they would share vulnerably, I always felt like I didn't have anything that was like a real issue to share. Like I didn't feel like my shit mattered enough, you know, that it just, there wasn't like the space for it. And even though that was invited into, you know, my mom, for instance, you know, would always check in with me and like ask how things were going, but I never felt like I could really be vulnerable and really open up, because again, I felt like, well, if you're going through this, you know, how can I take up space, kind of thing. And I noticed that as kind of a commonality as well in sistership circle, and kind of choosing to wait until the end. And I think just in my relationships with women, just, you know, feeling like, how can I give myself permission to open up, and how can I be the first person, you know, to share what's on my heart and what, you know, what's going on in my life. And so for me, I think, for me, that's the area that I'm practicing right now. And again, it's, you know, I didn't quite go first, but even going second to me is kind of scary at times. So
Can I turn the clock around? Okay, my heart is pounding. I'm fortunate enough to have had amazing relationships with women. So the only one I've had conflict with is my mom. But we have a better relationship now. And it's hard for me, I'm acting like she's watching right now and she's not, to say anything. I feel like I'm betraying her saying anything because she's fighting through stage 3 breast cancer right now. So it's really hard for me to say anything about her, even though I'm just expressing myself. But I do resonate, everything you said would resonate with me. I'm the oldest, I have 2 younger sisters. And my mom was not good at expressing herself or giving advice. I guess because she was the baby in her family, she was very spoiled. So all the attention was always on her, about her. So I felt like I couldn't open up and share anything that was going on with me, because then it was like she would fall apart and she didn't know how to handle it. And she always was like, well, what about, it was always her issue, not mine. So it did make me stronger in a sense, and it made everybody come to me then for help and advice, and I was there for my sisters because they couldn't go to our mom either. But I do notice that I just do push things down, and I'm like, I'm fine, it's fine, everything's okay, don't worry about it. And then I started attracting women that were like my mom, and I was just the strength for them always. And when I, wanted to open up to them, it was like, well, if you can't handle this or deal with this, it's like the world's ending. Like, we don't know how to help you. Like, you have all the answers. I'm like, I don't have all the answers. And then when I got certified as a life coach, it was worse because people are like, well, we don't know what advice to give you. You're the life coach. You coach life, right? And I'm like, yeah, but I still have things that I need to figure out. I don't have the answers for me. I might be able to help and guide you, but sometimes I fall off and I need to be put back on. But everything, it's getting better with my mom. I think it's just teaching her some lessons in life, so our relationship's better. I'll complete. Beautiful ladies. Thank you.
Is your heart still pounding?
Huh?
Is your heart still pounding?
Is what?
Is your heart still pounding?
Not as much.
It's been passed on to me. When thinking about this topic, the theme for me that's coming up is just a story of survival versus thrival with women. And I think I can relate. I think my story is an extension of the 2 of yours. I grew up in basically a sorority house, just my mom and my sister. And my sisters were 12 months apart. And it's like the one relationship with another woman that I still feel needs to be complete. And I really picked up that role of survival for my family and became the mother or the president of the sorority house when I was, 7 or 8 years old. And I would even set up meetings for us to talk about how to balance our checkbooks, because I thought it was important that my mom be more financially responsible. So I would set up appointments to essentially ask her to teach us the things that I felt we needed in our home in order to really survive. And since that time, when I left the home, I found sisterhood, and I found what it really meant to truly thrive in the midst of relationships with other women. And it wasn't about me needing to be the rock or the foundation for others. It was about partnership. And it was this feeling that just took over my whole body, where I actually felt like people were willing to carry the weight for me when I couldn't carry it. And I actually felt like I was able to release the baggage that I've been carrying for so long, ever since I was a little girl. And I was able to let that go. And so now, after having that experience, I thought, wouldn't it be neat to create an experience with my mom and my sister where we could thrive and be out of that survival mode and really change the pattern. And it started, and it's still beginning in this space of just really authentically saying the words, I love you. Those weren't even words that were spoken much in our home. And what's really special is it's been a journey over the last couple of years, but we can now say that to one another and truly mean it and be able to look in each other's eyes and feel that. And all the while be able to accept one another's journey and differences and actually be okay with the fact that, you know, we're all on a different course of life and we can be thriving in our own ways in the midst of that. So to close, that's the wound that I'm working on, is my relationship with my sister and deepening that even further.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how articulate I'm going to be honest. It might be a big ramble because I don't think I've ever put it in real words where it all came from with me. So there's a lot of different pieces for me. My mother left when I was 6 and then stopped communication when I was 8. So there's a lot of abandonment and feeling angry and unsure of what happened, and later on finding out, I went back to Korea and found my family, and she had passed away, and we think that she killed herself. So it's, you know, there's a lot of trying to understand her point of view about life. And all the different role models that I've had that have tried to fill her space have, you know, never quite been mother. So I feel really blessed because my sister, who's 6 years older than me, she and I have just recently gotten a lot closer. And for the first time in years, you know, we actually have conversations about real life, and she's been there for me in such huge ways. And so I'm celebrating how family is showing up in my life. And I think also a challenge, because I haven't had a mother role, is just knowing what it is to be a woman. I always grew up around guys, you know, my father being a really strong dude and very military, and then I was a tomboy all my life and was always closer to men, and I'm at this point in my life where I realize men come and go quite often sometimes. And you know, I've been feeling so grateful for the strength and the way that women have showed up in my life to, you know, be the rock. And so I've been redefining more and more what it is to be a woman, and really enjoying that journey.
So,
I guess I don't know how this is gonna come out, but basically the sisterhood wound that I feel most deeply is from my family structure. My mom and my dad got divorced when I was 16, which, a lot of people go through divorces, but mine was like extremely traumatic to me. My mom was like, my father was really abusive, and my mom was not really, it's not that she's not strong, I feel like she is now, but at the time, like when I was growing up, she was not in my eyes. And so it really has affected me in so many ways. I'm crying, but I feel as though it makes me feel like almost even what you just saw, like I feel like I always have to be strong and like kind of like in charge and call the shots. Because if I don't feel like that, then I feel like so like maybe that will happen to me, or maybe I will put myself in that situation, or I don't know. And that's kind of like one of my biggest fears, but it feels so good just to like say that, because it almost like acknowledging it really helps. But when I was, so my parents got divorced and moved out here when I was 16, and I lived on my own actually for almost like a year and a half. My grandfather was close by, but I had my own studio apartment, so I assumed my own like motherhood role. I definitely remember walking into the supermarket when I was 16 and like thinking to myself, wow, this is really weird. I'm like so young and I shouldn't be shopping for groceries for myself, but I am. And so that, definitely caused a lot of different things in my personality to come out. And my mom and I now have a good relationship, but I definitely feel as though sometimes it's like we'll have a conversation and it's mostly her telling me a bunch of things. She loves to talk, and I'm not a huge talker, and I think that's also like a part of my like wound is I don't share a lot unless I'm asked, because I feel as though I was always like talked to instead of like heard. So okay, so then somebody who's actually really helped me with this and like dealing with this is my current housemate. She's older. She's kind of like a mother figure, kind of, but not really. She's a healer, and she taught me how to do a meditative healing called Sun Assignment. And in closing, I'll just say, like kind of also helped me like understand like how to take care of myself like in a really good, positive way. So there's definitely still parts that need to be healed, but some of it has been by virtue of knowing this person. So. Thank you.
I think my wound around sisterhood definitely is relationship to my mother. I was adopted, and I had my adopted mother and my older sister. I definitely felt veins of just jealousy and competition in my family, and it wasn't a safe place to be a woman. And I think I sort of looked at women and just wanted to like understand, how do you be a woman? Like, what does that mean? And I think that's sort of like this sort of gap of like, I was adopted, but I wasn't really taken into a tribe, like you're mine, so there's still that sort of separation of not being in a family, and not only not being in a family, but like still, like, what does it mean to be a woman? Like I've always viewed women, not so much anymore, but like just, there were these amazing species, like they just did so many amazing things to themselves, and I would just always like admire and like put them on pedestals and just be like, wow, how did they do that? Like so many like in high school, like I just remember, and so I think I idolized women, and then And then I think more recently, since it's becoming less recent, but 3 years ago, I moved here from Long Beach, and I didn't know very many people, and so I've just really taken my time sort of getting to know people. But and part of why I started the circle is because I just need to be with women. Like I've found more healed pieces now where I can be in community and I feel safe, and that feels good for me. But I think I still have this expectation of, like I don't have the girlfriends I used to, and since moving it feels different and all these things. So I think right now, I have longing for, sisterhood outside of the circle where I'm in my everyday existence. Just like, what are you doing? Let's like band together, do something, whatever that is. So I think that's where I'm right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. These are beautiful. I'm just sitting here listening and looking at your faces and stuff. It really, I am also amazed by women, and I'm so glad that I'm a woman, first of all. I'm stoked. I am, I love it. Even though I'm like 50 pounds overweight and my body is not like the woman that I pictured, but you know what I mean? I love it. So my sisterhood wound, I wanted to really listen to you guys, so I didn't want to think too much about it, but what did just it struck me was, I've never had a sister. So I had a sister who passed when I was young, but I was older. So I was like a mother, and then she passed when she was young. And so for me, I think I've always been searching for like that best friend. And I always had a best friend growing up, that we were together, inseparable, And so I have 2 brothers, I'm the oldest. And I watched my brothers like get into business together. They pretty much talk every day. I really have no relationship with them at all. I'm really kind of that person on the other side. And I know it has a lot to do with my own, my own choices and things. So as I'm just sitting here, I was thinking, I crave having a sister to be in my life forever. You know what I mean? Like that sister that you could just call any day you want, and they're going to be there, and they call you, and you guys go to lunch. I crave it, and I found like I've started some women's groups of my own, and that's dissipated over the last few months, and I'm in other women's groups. So I've started other businesses with groups of women, and I'm in a lot of groups of women. I love being in those groups, and I cherish those relationships and those friendships. But there's still that missing link of like, as I'm sitting here, when it hit me, I realized how much I crave it. Like, and I almost feel like I'm not supposed to. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a needy thing. I think that's been like this interpretation inside of me and so I know there's a part of me too I know that there's a part of me that comes out kind of hard or something that almost keeps that away from me. Because I've been known, I actually have friends, I'll live somewhere for 2 years and then I bail. And then I like renew my friendships, right? So I kind of like, they don't exist, or they do and I love them, but I don't come in contact with them. So, and I was known for that. I mean, women, I had one friend who she would tell me, you're doing it, so anyway, that would be definitely, if I thought of any wound, that would be a wound that I feel is not healed yet. It hasn't. And I'm 40 now. Things change, as you get older. Like every decade feels a little different. And this decade feels different. I feel like I'm ready to have those few friends, real sisters that I can depend on forever. So, thank you. Thanks,
When I was really young, I had a brother who was older than I was. And I had this deep desire because he was so cool to be like one of the boys and hang out with all of his friends. And then when I was 6, he was hit by a car and he died. And it just, as you would probably imagine, like just fractured my whole family, and just broke my mom. And I just have these really horrific memories of then being shunned by everybody in our neighborhood because they thought we were weird or what happened. And getting our house egged. It hurts so bad. And girls in the school would call my mom a witch because they thought like she had done something because of the way other mothers would talk about her. And we were shunned from like all the mother-daughter social group gatherings. Yeah. And so I just learned, especially with my mom's own like power trip and all of her junk, I learned to be alone. And it was very lonely and isolating. And so I became this really like independent, hurt person who then would, you know, attract other women that were also, you know, as fractured as I was. And so I guess my journey has been about learning to regain a sense of belonging and owning the fact that I need people. Like I need women. I need women so bad. And also learning to love and accept like the loud and quirky and eccentric, full of laughter person I am, because like I just felt I spent a lot of years of my life just hiding that behind my mom's anger and control, like after what happened that she like kind of took out on me, I felt. And so here I am, like 20 some odd years later after that, just focusing on being like open-hearted and loving.
I want to hide because I don't want you guys to prove me wrong that you'd actually come through for me. When I just needed to not be the strong one. I know I carry with me lifetimes of being at the forefront of change and being persecuted for that. And this obviously is part of why I'm here. I don't like to cry in front of people because I get really red and swollen and embarrassed and want to hide. But I've been hurt by women my whole life. And that's why I know how to love them so well. I've been hated just for being in the room. I don't know why. Just being an easy target in grade school, and my mother and my sisters. Both my parents chose alcohol over nurturing their daughters. And so I had to be the parent to my parents and my sister and everyone else in their world. Now I'm exhausted. It stops with me. I won't perpetuate this with my daughters and my daughter's daughters. And until this topic came into my world and why I'm here, I didn't know why I was here, and now I know. I had no idea that I was carrying this with me. So much pain and so much anger. My sister lives in San Diego, and she shamed me for coming out to California because it was selfish. And it was the first time in my life I actually chose what felt good for me. So my intention is bringing healing to the sisterhood bond, and I hope that I can find strength to do that with her. And I think this will help. I love you all so much. You heal me. Thank you.
We love you.
Thank you. Don't mind me, I'm probably crying all the time.
This is something that has recently come into my awareness of having multiple occurrences of very recently being reflected to me of how my needs and how I receive women in my life has been this ongoing pattern that I've been ping-ponging off of, being this like wallflower within my own family dynamics, and then that juxtaposition of being so shocked in my relations in elementary school of being targeted as this person that was overbearing and like a bossy character, and being so confused at the roles that I was playing in my relationships, from being that martyr, that victim, to being the bully, and carrying so much guilt and shame with that bullying aspect, and then being so shocked at myself too, because there's majority of myself has always been this person that gives guidance and support and a listening ear, and then feeling this outrage with my supposed sisters when it's that time in my life that I need to receive that ear and understanding that my whole world has just been flipped upside down, and in an instant, because you can't handle it, like, you choose to just cut off an entire relationship. So it's been an interesting journey going through my relationships with women, and feeling that I'm healing those aspects with my mom and my sister. But it's been a challenge since I'm on the other side of the country, and they have such a strong bond, and me feeling like an outsider with that. It's challenging. So thank you.
So there's a couple things that come to mind for me when I think about my sisterhood. The first is with my family. I have an older sister, and who's 4.5 years older than me, and I always felt like I wasn't as good as her. Like, my mom was comparing us when I was growing up, and that was difficult, as well as just not feeling close to her. She kind of had to take care of my brother and I when we were younger, so I think that there's a lot of her resentment towards that and not being able to just be, a kid. And so that has been really, for most of my life, has been really difficult because, I had my girlfriends, but I always felt like all I wanted was to be really close to my sister. And then the other thing was I was in a sorority in college, and it felt really nice to have that, kind of sisterhood and that bond. But then I went to one of my sister's weddings, and we were taking pictures, and one of the girls that was not in our sorority, asked if they could take a picture with their group that they had sort of formed this group, and basically asked me not to be in the picture. And it was really hurtful, especially because my friend that was getting married, her and I were basically best friends throughout our sorority in college, and there's very few memories I have probably of my sorority life in college without her. And I haven't really been, in contact with her since then, and it was just a really hurtful experience for me. So I think there's a lot around feeling fear of not being included, as well as I always felt like I was an authentic person, but I remember one day feeling if people don't like me, that's okay, because if they don't know me, then it's okay if they don't like me. And realizing that I think I spent most of my life probably not really being myself, because I thought it would be easier if people didn't like me. Then it was okay, because they didn't really know me. And so I feel but now I'm at the point where I don't want to not be me. I don't really know who that is, so I'm kind of figuring that out and wanting people to like me for me, But it's scary because it's like, okay, if they don't, then I can't do anything else because I don't want to be anything else. So, yeah, so I think, I mean, even in the safe space, it's hard to really like trust that I can be me and that I can actually be accepted for me. You know, for whoever that is, for, yeah. And that it's enough. And I don't have to be like anybody else. So, thank you.
For me, my parents divorced when I was young, 6 or 7. I have a younger sister and an older brother. And I've healed my sister and mother wounds. They live back east, so I don't see them as often as I'd like to. But what comes up for me around this subject is it seems that I've often been misjudged with other women. And I'm not sure if it's just from the way I look or because I know I've been shy before, and sometimes I would walk in a room and not speak, and oftentimes when you do that, maybe it leaves the wrong impression. But anyone that really knows me knows that I'm really just full of love, you know, and I'm super sweet. And so many women, I have just felt jealousy, just attacked with jealousy. And I've also been very popular. Junior high, high school, I was in a sorority. In college, I've also moved around a lot. I relate with many of you, with the things you've said. And I'm very grateful for this circle here in California and how it has just totally given me the support from sisters that that's very much needed, I think, in every woman. I think every woman deserves and needs this in their life. And so, yeah, that's just what really comes up is that I feel misjudged a lot. And I just invite people to get to know me before doing that because it's really hurtful. And I've been burned before by so many women, you know. I've told this story before about how one of my girlfriends from high school, she actually lives out here, and she wouldn't even return my calls when I moved here. And the only thing I could think of is that I helped her with an abortion in high school, and maybe she was worried that her husband would find out, but I wouldn't do that. So it's nice to be in this circle with all of you.
For the past 5 years almost, the sisterhood wound has been literally in my face like this. And this week, it's so interesting to me how you think that you heal all the stuff, and I think that, wow, I've healed so much. I had all these women who I was friends with during the first year, and then we had all these breaks, and they all came back in my life, and I'm great. And then it's like this week, like everything was just hitting me in the face again. Just feeling upset weepy, disconnected. And Jen, your share really hit a chord with me today. So I was like, what part do I share? Like, there's just so much that's there, alive, so much wounding. And I've never spoken this. It's like my late 20s where I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be like a maid of honor. Because I'm friends with everyone, but do I have that best friend for life? Funny thing is I do have some friends that I've known forever and really deep long-term friendships. But there was like a deep loneliness and like that craving of like, what is this that will allow me to get close to any one person, or really like let like a few close people like really close to me, like really inside my heart. And Brett said to me today something about don't burn bridges. And I got so upset and I just started sobbing when he said this, and I was like yelling at him because I was like, don't say that to me. And it was like, yeah, it's just, it's like this constant like get hurt, push people away, just this, my whole life, make sure I have the wall up, don't let anyone in, be surrounded by a million people, but don't let anyone actually within this little boundary right here. And so I've experienced a lot of loneliness, which is what had me create this in the first place. And I think the biggest piece was that I never really as a kid, I never wanted to be a girl. It was, it was like this complete identification with boys, and boys are better than girls and men are better than women. And so then it was this question of like, well, what does it mean for me to be a woman? And it scared the shit out of me. And I could go on and on.
I feel like a desk come down to me probably with my relationship with my mom, with whom I really never was close when I was young. She had me when she was really young. She was 20, 21. So my grandparents pretty much raised me. I think I always craved that deeper connection. I always craved that deeper connection. And when I would share something with her, something personal, when we get a chance, she would share it with her friends, and then I really felt shut down. I felt like I can really not be vulnerable, I cannot share anything because it didn't feel safe. And then growing up, there was so much competition and so much jealousy that I just stayed in my little safe space and just always try to adjust according to situations and blend in, and it was not welcome to stand out in any way. So it was always just blending in, kind of adjusting. And it really had me close it off for a long time. And I feel like it's almost, I became almost numb to my own feelings. Because I would never really have anyone to share them with, and then they would come up and be like, oh, everything is fine, everything is fine. So I really never allowed myself to feel and explore that until recently. And even when I started the circle, it was a lot of resistance for me in the beginning to go there and start pulling stuff up and like I don't want to go there. Yeah, but it's been a lot of healing for me through that process, through like discovering these layers of myself that I pushed down for so long, and just kind of feel like I lived on the surface, and all my relationships were on the surface. I never really allowed that depth to really go deep. So yeah, so it's been definitely a healing process for me, and yeah, it's been an amazing journey.
Let's see if we have any women who've shared from on. Recommend. That's all right. So I want to acknowledge, before we move into the next exercise, the discomfort of this conversation. Even leading, I don't know how many circles, how many years, I noticed my own discomfort, my own wanting to check out, numb out, leave, not want to be in this, this conversation. So I just really want to acknowledge every single one of you for going there, whatever it took. Allowing yourself to feel what you felt. And I think an important piece is not trying to fix it, not trying to change it, not trying to make it better. It's just acknowledging this aspect, this part of ourselves that has been wounded, has been hurt. And by that simple acknowledgement, that's the pathway to healing. So we have an exercise where we wanted to cross over the threshold, wherever that wounding was, and to acknowledge perhaps what was the gift that this gave you. There's a reason for everything, right? There's sometimes our greatest weaknesses and our greatest pain that becomes our greatest strength. And I know that's for me for sure. This wouldn't exist without my wounding around feminine, around sisterhood. It's become my life path. So what I would like everyone to do is to grab a partner and to share what that gift was for you. And the woman who's listening to just hold space. No fixing, no feedback, just holding up the mirror for her to share what that is, that gift. So grab a partner. Flag streamers. If you want to just think for yourself, journal, write in the Facebook group if that might be it. We're going to take, yeah. So we're going to take 2 minutes each. And so first person who's going to share, pick who's going to go first. And go for it.
with me and any intention
people.
of my
I've always try to see the best and help them see that in themselves and watch them their life is about who they are.
And when I go into the community, it feels safe to be there, and I get this like general feeling of belonging. It just like fills me up with so much crazy energy. And I'm like bouncing off the walls. And it's rooted in that place, you know, what it feels like. I know I want to be alone or just in my life. And that like feeling like I have to do everything on my own. Then when I actually receive something from someone, love, something material, it just feels delicious and makes me almost that same way that I convey like the depth of gratitude and how it feels to have. And I guess, and I'm still in a transitional phase where I'm learning how to my power and feel safe, and that after encountering journey when there's like practice for so many years to be good to know. I'm not really sure. I'm still like celebrating how to create like allowing my personality and like my self-practice to see that people is so empowering.
Switch. Another person share, switch.
So I think for me, I just was realizing today peace. I mean, it's just feels like so anyway, at work, help you. Yeah, kind of like me when I was honoring about for sure, and that feels so nice. For me, and perhaps that's my own perception of whatever's going on around me, or maybe not. I don't know. But either way, I think what is everybody shares, what is the truth, what so nice.
It's like that, you know, I guess honest about their that that's not necessarily like, especially no, got my train. Alright. Thank you, partner. And let's get one or two shares before we do a little threshold ritual. Get one or two shares.
I'll share really quick. I am a co-creator. That's what I was just sharing with her. Meaning I learned that I can create whatever I want through these things that I don't have. So I just realized as I was sitting here, I can create my best friends. I mean, I can call them in. And so that was just the awareness, and then that's what I was telling her, the awareness and then the creation. Aware and then create. If I want it, I can have it. And it's not about control. That was always an issue. So anyway.
Thanks.
One more share.
I'll share. Yeah. So I think there's a couple of gifts for me. One is having experienced not being included. I have always really made an effort when I notice like someone in a room doesn't really know anybody, like to go and say hi to them and make them feel welcome. And so I think that's one of the gifts, is knowing what it feels like not to be included. I don't want someone else to experience that. So, and I think that's also another piece of the second part is also, you know, like really me feeling passionate about women experiencing sisterhood and knowing that it's not, you don't have to be in a sorority and you don't have to have a birth sister to actually experience sisterhood. The real sisterhood where you can be anybody, you know, you don't have to be what the kids were like in high school who were popular or whatever, you know, you don't have to be whatever image you think of as what a woman's like in order to be in a sisterhood and be accepted for who you are. And so knowing that every woman can be a part of that, I think is another gift that I've been given.
Oh, sorry, I put my hands down before you looked at me.
Maggie, you want to share?
Sure. I guess all those years of feeling really alone, like it's really the root of my joy, because now when I walk into communities and I feel that community vibe, like it just instantly fills me with this crazy, explosive joy and gratitude that just like comes out of me like light beams, and yeah, and I love that part of myself.
You too.
One of the things I love about Sistership Circle is all the rituals that we've created. To really create a container and create a space for us to transform some of these conversations. So one of the things I love to do is the ritual of crossing the threshold. And really like it's I talk about this in the book, like that drawing a line in the sand. And I think you've spoken to it around all the past generations, and I'm not carrying this on to my daughter. And there's just something so powerful about us literally drawing that line in the sand. And that's what I said that had me then, I believe, get pregnant and go through the healing that I went, is I was like, I'm not bringing this to the next generation. Like, I'm healing this shit. And I crossed the threshold. And so what I would like us to do is to create that commitment within ourselves. And no matter how many times we've been burned, this is for all of you on the live stream, like no matter how many times you've been burned by women, we can still open our hearts to the sisterhood. Like this sisterhood, that the true, real, authentic sisterhood that we're experiencing right now in this moment exists, and it can exist for every single woman on this planet. So I want to just read this piece that, and then for us to take that stand and to just cross, like you create that line for yourself and then just step over it. So after I read this. Together we turn hindrances into intimacy. We turn gossip into asking the source. We turn complaining into celebrating. We turn positioning wars into collaboration. We turn protecting oneself into opening oneself. We turn rejecting first into leaning in first. We turn hardening into softening. We turn fixing into listening. We turn grudges into forgiveness. We turn blame, shame, and guilt into truth-telling. We turn forcing into allowing. We turn competition into cooperation. We turn projections into reflections. And we turn not feeling supported into asking for support. And I just want to take a deep breath in. You just want to draw that imaginary line on the ground and that commitment whatever it is for yourself, whatever that looks like. You know, like Jen said, like I'm a co-creator. What, like stepping into that, we get to cross over this line that we've drawn for ourselves and step into that woman and that sisterhood that we want, and that we deserve, and that we've been calling in. And so when you're ready to just take that step forward and then take that other foot to meet it. And just look around. There's something so powerful about setting an intention, making a declaration, and then being witnessed, and to do it as a collective. This is how dreams are manifested. We hold each other. We hold each other's visions. We hold each other's dreams. We hold each other's hearts. And we provide that mirror of each other's brilliance. So thank you, ladies, for being my mirror, for being each other's mirrors, for being the mirror of every woman and her greatness. So Megan's going to lead us through a meditation. So we can just take our seats. So I'm gonna start us off exactly where Tanya left us. And if we can actually just for a moment grab each other's hands. Yeah. And if we can just look into each other's eyes, and we can feel in our hearts the love and the gratitude that we have for what has been created in this circle this evening. Really just feel it through the connection that you have. And the woman's hand to your left, and the woman's hand to your right. And the laughter that came from this evening, and the tears of healing that came from this evening. Just feel that in your heart. Breathe into that. Take 3 deep breaths together. And if you can close your eyes if they're not already, and gently release the woman's hands. And bring your hands to your heart. And just feel again the love and the gratitude for the space that's been created this evening. And I want you to imagine a world in which this is the norm. I want you to imagine a world in which your relationships in your family, with your sisters, and your mother, and your aunt, and any women role models, and your friends. I want you to imagine all of these women in your life, and these women around the world, experiencing connection
that we have experienced this evening. And I want you to bring into your heart one woman or several women or a group of women that you feel like has in some way caused you pain in your life, or in some ways that you feel a disconnection from. It could be a friend, a family member, a colleague, whomever it is. Call them into this space. Call them into the sisterhood. Hold them in your heart and wonder, what would it be like for this woman to really step into the sisterhood? What would it be like to practice love and compassion towards this woman unconditionally? And just breathe into that. The sister circle extends beyond what is created in this space. The sisterhood really ripples into every relationship that we have in our life, both with the feminine and the masculine. When we come together as women and we can fully express the authenticity of who we are, even the deep, dark sides that we sometimes find ourselves shielding from others, we can bring light to those areas, and we can bring healing to those wounds. Sisterhood can exist not only in this circle, but it can exist everywhere in the world. And so I want you to release your hands from your chest and actually open them towards the sky. You can put them up high, or you can release them on your lap. Whatever feels to you like you are opening your heart to the women in this room and to the women of the world. Inviting them into this sacred space. Inviting them to join the sisterhood. And inviting them to fully express who they are. And when you feel ready, and when you feel as though you've called these women into this space, you can bring your hands together in prayer and gratitude. And slowly open your eyes. Once again, acknowledging the women in this room. So I have a couple women just express other feelings in this moment that they're experiencing.
It's feeling very raw. And grateful for feeling raw. Now often I don't allow myself to. I feel at ease and like very accepting of just everything that everyone has shared, and including that aspect of myself that I've
kind of mentioned I don't particularly love to share, but I feel just like super at ease and accepted and accepting. So thank you.
Have like caffeine. I feel like I want to have new besties. You know, I want to be your bestie. Can I be on your list? And everybody's just so darling, and I just find myself wanting to get to know each other more and playing, and really playing the bestie roles. Like, why does it only have to be limited to one or two even,
I didn't get a big old one.
Clown hand.
Or the Mickey Mouse. I know more like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, we can.
I'm feeling like voraciously stirred up inside. Like my body feels really small right now to like have all that going on. And I also feel like a deep responsibility to heal this because I need to bring this healing out into the world. We can't live separate anymore. It just doesn't suit us. It's not what we're built for. So thank you for facilitating this space. Thank you.
I feel like I'm floating. So much love, and I just feel very open. I feel like I'm high and just floating around the room and just loving everybody. So I feel wonderful. Thank you. The tall people will listen to me. Thank God.
Kai gives us this beautiful space with no tissue paper.
We're camping. Porta potty set up somewhere.
One last one.
I feel light and just loved and just fully accepted. Thank you.
So since this is our final night of the festival, I can't believe it's been a whole week of this
Let's
healing.
have another one next week.
She's like, I gotta sleep next week.
Yeah, it's great because we have a new little closing ritual that we're, what's so fun about Circle is there's constant new co-creations happening that are being brought forward, like our double dipping from Wednesday night and, changing it from the hot seat to the love seat. It's so much, so we have a new addition to our closing ritual. Before we do that, before we really wrap up, live streamers, if you're watching, tonight is such a beautiful representation of what we do in Sistership Circle. Like this depth of healing that happens, this is what Sistership Circle is all about. And we were very intentional, the four of us, about co-creating like the most authentic expression of what we're here to, what this mission is really, like for all of us to be really seen, loved, and heard and accepted. Right? And it was like, okay, yeah, like that happened. And every single time we do that, it's like it expands out. It keeps expanding out and out and out. And so this is an invitation for all of you who've been watching all week, and have been just moved and formed and inspired just by watching the conversations. Imagine being part of it. And there's something so powerful about every single woman sharing. And that's why we really wanted to honor that part of Circle tonight. Whereas the other nights, it wasn't, not everyone got to share. It was a lot of activities, a lot of parent shares. But when every single voice gets to be heard in the circle, I think that's when like the true sisterhood occurs. And so that's really the invitation with the 12-week circle for those of you in San Diego, and then for those of you who are live streaming to join the virtual, you get the exact same benefit online, on Skype, as you would, in a live circle. And so there's the invitation to keep this alive in your own life, and as the ripple effect to keep spreading this festival more and more, because it's just like it's alive in our hearts, and now it's like, how do we keep that flame going? So that's the invitation. Anything any of you would like to add in closing? Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So much love for each.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, okay, so next week, this time. Can we all return?
Yeah, that's what we can do in the 12-week. So the 12-week circles start in December. So we've got a couple weeks. We've got lots of bonuses coming online. So stay tuned, live streamers. Everyone could hand these out. We're going to do our new ritual. So one of our sisters, Jess Johnson, who co-led last night at the Honoring the Masculine event, she said, I want to write the theme song for Sistership Circle. And so fitting, because she was part of one of the original Sistership Circles back in 2010. And so she was supposed to have this ready for Monday, and it's Wednesday, and she's finally like, I got the song, listen, she sends it on my phone. So we are going to sing with Jess our new theme song. Is there an extra paper for me? I don't have it memorized yet. And yeah, just sing along as best as you can. And we'll do it twice because it's pretty, it's only like 2 minutes. And so we can hopefully learn it more the second time.
And I also just want to add that, sometimes when you're listening to a song for the first time, you don't want to sing too loudly because you don't know which notes they're going to hit next. But I think the beauty of the Sistership Circle is letting your voice be heard, right? And whatever expression that is, and whatever note that is. So I invite everyone to sing their hearts out, regardless that this is the first time we're singing it.
Awesome. It's so funny that, this whole festival, I have not once mentioned Tribal Truth as the container for Sistership Circle. And that was just like such a perfect way for us to really acknowledge the container of being a tribe of truth tellers. Like that's what Tribal Truth is always about. Is like us being able to speak that truth in tribe. So thank you for, let's sing our hearts out.
Let the love surround you when you're on your own. We are all around you. When you feel like floating in the ocean of alone. Sister of mine, the circle time. We let you in. I remember you surrender now, never gonna let you go again. You.
probably play it. Yeah,
They will play it tonight. Okay, so let's do our final closing ritual. Now part of the whole thing. And everyone, hands on the shoulders.
Oh.
So live streamers, you're part of this circle. Just close your eyes if you want and pretend like you're getting massaged or give yourself a massage. And so we were gonna each state our name, and like at the beginning we stated what we're bringing into the circle. Now what are we taking from the circle into our life, into our week, into our month, to the holidays, and then we're gonna rub that intention into the shoulders of the sister in front of us, and so we each get to bring home all of these intentions and have them be embodied. I'm Tanya, and I'm taking healing love from the circle.
I'm Elena, and I'm taking healing. I'm taking deep gratitude and an open heart. I'm Misty, and I'm taking trusted friendship.
I'm Megan, and I'm taking courage.
I'm Jennifer, and I'm taking sistership.
I'm Sierra, and I'm taking love.
I'm Simone, and I'm needing the love and healing and wisdom that comes through community.
I'm Jessica, and I'm taking my voice and yumminess.
I'm Jen, and I'm taking friendship and co-creation.
Amen.
Get it, girl. Get it. Yeah. I want to say like liability after this massage. But that's not really. I'm Megan, and I'm taking support and groundedness.
I'm Crystal, and I am taking new sisters and so much love.
I'm Grace, and I'm taking softening and acceptance.
I'm Lily, and I'm taking acceptance of all of me.
Can I go back around, Tanya?
So let's open up to our live streamers. I think kind of including them in here.
Actually, the other way.
Other way. Perfect. Good.
I love you. So thank you everyone for being part of this, and good night, and thank you for being part of this amazing festival. We hope to see you in one of our 12-week sistership circles. Everyone, let's say good night.
They'll have to announce themselves though.
Oh, thank you everyone.
Thank
Okay, so the final ritual is blowing up candles.
Oh, yeah. How? Can you reach it?
Yeah, it's close. Come down. Hello,
Oh, like a birthday. Like it's
all our birthdays.
Get it.
Are we gonna take a picture? Of course.